in mind.
Alright, so I had to revisit something here, the MPL Philippines Season 14 playoffs. It seems like their approach, Aurora MLBB, to try and taking down Fnatic Onyx Philippines was to, number one, get rid of a flex. Weirdly enough, they actually tackled Super Prince and Kelra. But again, it was a slightly different time in the meta, so...
I mean, it was slightly different.
Slightly.
That and they put the Kirk, they put the Edith on Edward.
Yeah, oh yeah, that's
So
true.
they choked that away from Kirk.
So here for CFU, let's see if at least their first phase of banning will reflect that. They take away the Fanny of King Kong, and that's one Super Prince off option away. They take out the Juice Sin. Now I wonder if CFU might be crazy enough to, if it's open, bum rush the low Yi and get it in the first two picks on the red side.
Possibly, but they first need to think about things like Yeve. Oh, interesting. They're purposely leaving it open. Huh. That means at least at a bare minimum, we might see Lo Yi. Good chance we see Yeve. Good chance we see Hilda as well. And with that Joy Ban, all three are open to make sure that red side have an insane counter engage.
Yeah, and I think with Joy Ban also, that's Lo Yi Eve trade.
Oh, yeah.
We might be seeing here in the mid lane. First pick, though, FNOP, are they the exception to first picking Suyo? Because King Kong just does it so well, but now Brusko gets his Cho.
Yeah, because you can't take the Hilda, the Eve, and the Louis all at the same time. So something's got to give.
Something has got to give. Personally, for me, I think that it really depends on how afraid are you to deal with Super Prince's Lo Yi. And Lo Yi is really interesting, right? Because again, great in team fights, but the major issue is that you don't know when Lo Yi is going to show up behind you, side of you, flanking you from different angles here. So they're going to deny the Lo Yi, but still 100% pick ban rate in the Hilda as well. Two very big power picks for CFU.
All right, so they are loco enough to actually prioritize the Lo Yi in the first two picks red side. And you mentioned the Hilda, Leo. It does pop up here. For FNOP, do you quickly react and get your power pick? Do you get the Beatrix for Kelra now?
It's a good way to respond to people coming through a diversion.
Sand rises when I give the word.
Oh,
Khalid Suyo.
Oh, that's very interesting. Khalid Suyo into this particular matchup, both don't exactly do too well, especially when you're up against a Hilda, but both maintain enough pressure to keep up with the Hilda to make sure that you can at least monitor her as she walks away from the lane.
And now, of course, it becomes a Suyo Alpha trade in the jungle, and now both teams will be, well, for Fnatic Onyx Philippines, no gold in mid yet. But for CFU, no gold and either roam or XP. Although wait, are they gonna put this Hilda in the roam instead?
They can flex it.
They can, technically. They can if they want to, but I do want to see a Beatrix ban come out sooner rather than later. They get rid of the Granger, which is already pretty good. Granger's able to open up the map super easily with the Death Sonata at the bare minimum.
Oh, but the thing is now, if we're talking about the big-time gold laners, as we've talked about all throughout the day, Bruno, Granger,
Beatrix.
Beatrix is the last one off left. Let's see if you can pick it for.
Your team is banned.
Ooh, Gatot ban coming in for the side of FNOP, huh? I guess Gatot deal is alright in terms of being an EXP laner to clear waves fast, but also having high impact in that game. At the very least, you can be like, oh, diversion, and then quickly throw yourself into the middle of the fight.
Yeah, it's also, I feel like, a Khalid thing. I think I got to talk with a few players, and if they know they have an XP Khalid, so sometimes the EXP laner themselves would be the one to say, can we just take out Gatot?
They don't like it.
Yeah, they just don't like it. It's not all the time, but that might be one of the reasons. The other reason is slower backline focused gold laner maybe for Kelra.
Well, yes, but let me get into the micro of it. When you use well, not the Raging Sand, so the sand, the tornadoes in the lane, once you hit level 2, he does the first spin, you taunt him, you clear the wave, concussive blast, you walk off, and then you have priority over the lane. That's the micro side of things.
That's why League decided to go for the Gatot removal. Tigreal gets taken away. So they're looking at the Hilda. They're forcing the Hilda into the EXP lane, and they are just removing some key roamers here that could give trouble to the Cho.
Gold laner still at large for both sides.
Oh, where could they go with this? You just pick up the Beatrix here, right? You pick up the Beatrix for yourself, force FNOP to play something that scales a little bit later. Harith, Natan, both can go into this composition very, very well. And then look to final pick maybe Chip, you know, have double global presence.
Oh, thank you for reminding me that Chip is still hotly contested right now, honestly.
Fold the map twice. Fnatic Onyx still need to invest in a good mid laner, though. I don't think these three are going to work alone.
Yeah.
Are we looking at what? A Valentina? An Eve?
As expected.
Steal away the Bea.
I think if you're Kelder, you honestly consider Nathan right now. Because if it's just a Valentina, that's not enough magic, dude.
Do you Veil?
Actually, Veil would be pretty interesting to see, but I personally think that Farsa goes really, really nicely because I don't think anything reaches the backline at this point other than if you diversion them there.
And this is one of the few times that the Aurora is actually open.
Yeah, that too. I mean, all of them, all of those picks do well as long as they scale, as long as they hold position over that mid lane, and most importantly, can you open up bushes safely without having to put yourself in danger? That's why, as much as I want to say Valentina is going to go great, because at least you deal with two melee heroes, you're still going to get one-shot by a lot of abilities.
All right, they do go magic damage, but it's the Harith over the Nathan, and it's the Sicilian. First Super Friends. They were the first team, if I'm not mistaken, in MPL Philippines Season 14 to show up with the Sicilian. And now it makes a comeback here. They rounded off with magic damage, but the sword hanging over FNOP's head, a potential last pick chip for CFU.
Oh, would Chip be enough here? Sicilion's damage is kind of scary, especially when it scales, but more so that Sanguine Claw, particularly dangerous to backliners, especially if it just clips you at the edge.
Yeah, and it misplaces or displaces the Hilda and the Chip. Like, you need someone who can cut right through to the back.
So maybe, yeah, it sounds like the Sicilian and Harith were picked because they were thinking of the chip in mind. So does this mean CFU swerve?
Do they have the picks to swerve?
I think the only pick that could help swerve them is probably like a drop or even... Oh, there we go. Another pick-off style of hero. I mean, they're playing... Keep in mind, they're playing Beatrix.
Okay, Franco Beatrix, Franco Loyi, very Indonesia-coded. A shout-out to, if I'm not mistaken, it's Evo's Legends back in MPL Philippines Season 13 who showed me this combo. But it's a Sicilian, and Sicilian's happy to go up against Franco. Ingan Naisu, could you please expound a bit more?
Thank you so much, panel, for that amazing analysis. I mean, looking at the lineups, I know this is going to be a banger. The Beatrix paired up with the Franco for CFU. We've seen it's a sort of similar style with Aurora a while ago with the Kaja and Beatrix, but this time we'll see if you make it work up against a Titan, the champions of the Philippines, Fnatic Onyx. And so far, what can you say? We have another Sicilian here.
We do. Hey, you know what? This could work in their favor, like we saw earlier today with a very long game. But ultimately, too, I'd be a little bit worried if the pickoff potential comes through with that Franco-Beatrix combination.
Yeah. And as we enter the Land of Dawn for match number 7 of day number 2 for the Swiss stage.
Welcome to Multirole.
You know, the thing is, with the Kaja a while ago from Aurora, it wasn't as active as we wanted it to be, especially if you have a Beatrix up against Harith right now. So right now, if you're OP, you really have to be proactive. Make those... Look for those pickoffs. Activate CFU Gaming right away. Give Sing the space that he needs. Because yesterday, when we saw CFU Gaming go up against NIP Flash, the moment that they gave Sing his power spike, the moment that they gave him a lot of space, he was able to pop off up against NIP Flash.
Definitely was. I mean, that's at this point with the Beatrix, you know, in that matchup against the Harith, they're gonna have to make something work here. Brusko, mind you, yesterday I think he had the record. What was it, the fastest first blood at what, 54 seconds? And this time around, still early pressure. Wanted taking a couple shots, might have taken too many. Won't be able to escape that first blood in the hands of King Kong. Might be looking for more. Oh, Detective runs into the wall with the Cyclone Eye. Already a double for King Kong.
And that's not what you want if you're going up against Fnatic Onyx, Page. I mean, yesterday they went up against TLID for the fastest game this Swiss stage, 11 minutes and 11 seconds. And assuming that this game goes to the late game, again, they have Super Friends.
OP. Already burning the flicker, and, you know, you make a good point here. And most people, you know, the worst person to give that early double kill to is obviously a jungler like the Suyo that really performs really well. Even down a couple health bars, they'll still go ahead and check Wadu. Wadu will be forced out, but this is now a position where Fnatic Onyx Philippines could go ahead and start this turtle up some of the advantage they've already built themselves.
And you're going to expect the XP laners to be as active as possible because, you know, Khalid really activated first 5 minutes. He wants to disrupt as much as possible the rotation of the opposing team, give as much as information as he can. And that's the same goal of the Hilda because towards the mid to late game, these two heroes, especially the Hilda, almost becomes non-existent, especially if the turtle will be secured by Fnatic.
It's going to be secured. King Kong gets it. There's the Raging Sandstorm. Won't be able to find a connection, though. They're caught in place, and they actually just back off Kirk as well. Didn't expend it that way, the Dragon, so easy cuttings for Fnatic on it. They'll go ahead and just get that turtle.
Okay. Now Fnatic is on a roll, controlling the pace. This is what Gideon has been mentioning. They know they're masters of tempo. They know how to break, they know how to utilize the tempo, and so far with the 2 kills King Kong has picked up early on, they know what to do.
Yeah.
Brusko, the Bruiser, clearly just zoning out CFU Gaming, again, getting a lot of information for Fnatic on PH. And this is what you want if you're going up against the Luyi. Get as much ground so you can disrupt diversion like this. But okay, OP's gonna miss with his Iron Hook, but it's looking like Super Prince wants to go in.
Super Prince wants to go for Z. There's the Raging Sandstorm. They're going to be able to pick up the kill this time around for Brusko. Good couple of shots from Super Prince. You know, that's the thing we expect when that Sicilian is there. So Z, even burning the Purify in that exchange. Meanwhile, up top, Kirk will just go ahead and kick Wadu away. He's had enough of that. Kelra he'll actually be able to sidestep that. OP and Zing here both. Malefic Gun now picked up. That's the first priority, but it looks like just gonna go ahead and continue farming up.
Yeah, so for CFU Gaming, again, if you're gonna have a Kaja, a suppress type of hero, a pick-off type of roamer, like the Kaja or the Franco, you have to be as proactive as possible. You don't want your Iron Hooks to miss. You don't want to use the Flicker for the Bloody Hunt combination just for the sake of that, just to get the pick-off early on at this stage. So OP really needs to step up for his team right now, but Super Prince with the Sanguine Claws really being a thorn in the neck of CFU Gaming.
Yeah, and even a part of that, I'm wondering if they'll actually be able to contest this turtle coming up. They're just going to secure these buffs here for Detective. Turtle spawns now. Oh, there's the hook. This might be a lockdown they're looking for. Bloody Hunt 2. Taking out Brusko. Good response from CFU.
Diversion?
Diversion going to be used. Get in position. King Kong round the corner, takes the shot, has the information, waiting on the rest of the team. Kirk joins as well, looks for Wadu, goes in, doesn't use the kick though, and that'll be the turtle for CFU. Able to find something. It does whittle down that gold lead a little bit that FNOP was building up, but they still have work to do.
And that's what we were saying. OP really needs to connect with the Iron Hook. Oh, kick!
There's the kick from Kirk, right into the blades of King Kong. And there's a shot. Z has to be careful. He takes another bad impact. But that's why Kirk, he held on to that Way of the Dragon earlier on.
And Fnatic Onyx, again, speaking of tempo, what the panel has been mentioning, normally if you're going to get a turtle taken away from you, you're just going to disengage, regroup, and think things through. But Fnatic Onyx, especially Kirk, wants to go in right away, commits the Flicker, Way of the Dragon combination to make sure that they get the trade, despite CFU Gaming getting a kill plus that turtle.
That's kind of what they have to play around here, Ingan, is really just the hook. And every time OP, you know, he doesn't land it. We've seen this before where Franco, you know, it's kind of, even if you miss the hooks, it does just, it's that one hook that can change the course of a game later on. But you also have to stop the game from just scaling out of favor. Diversion going to be used. They send in the whole team through. Looking to crash down. Brusko in trouble again as he's taken out by Z. Super Prince and Kelra still going to be okay, though. 4 members from CFU focusing on the bottom side. They're going to crash down. Kelra in trouble as a double for Z, and now Super Prince in trouble as they pick up another kill. And CFU now taking the momentum just around the corner. King Kong and Kirk waiting patiently, but they don't want anything to do with CFU right there.
They don't want to smoke. They don't want to overcommit up against CFU Gaming. That was a huge play, but Kirk
could be in trouble. Does get away, still has the safety of the turret. Brusko, but look at all the bodies here on the bottom side. And Brusko has to flicker out. The hook is actually going to land, and a good hook. Raging Sandstorm on the defense, and now Kelra joining the fight. Pops the Zaman Force just to cover. And Super Prince will help him out. Good thing Brusko stays alive. They trade the objective as the turtle, the last one of the game, goes to FNOP.
So CFU Gaming was able to secure a turret down bottom. But in exchange, they wanted to go for a kill onto Brusko. They did, however, expend his flicker, but the problem was Fnatic Onyx was ready for that, and they were 2 steps ahead because they wanted to go for the trade for the Turtle Instant, and they were successful in doing so. So right now, Fnatic still clinging on to that 2.2k gold lead. But the thing is, for CFU Gaming, they have a lot of entry points. They have the Iron Hook, they have the Flicker, Bloody Hunt, and apart from that, the diversion plays that Z at any given moment can give out.
It's funny because, you know, that's an early winter crown, man, for Opie. Has the rapid boots, he's got the speed, and he's got the freeze as well. Look at the play, though. Up here, the tier 2 was being worked on the whole time. And now they're going to go take this purple buff away. There's the pull, though. Brusko jumps on in. Kirk's already out. Kelra drops the Zom in force. King Kong takes the shot on the backside. There's no turret to help them out. They're still taking the brunt of the damage, and they have to back off. As FNOP loses to Opie with a flicker back after the hook. And there's the shot from Zing. Finally lining it up and takes out King Kong.
CFU shocking Fnatic Onyx Philippines with a quick response, a quick diversion play onto their jungle, onto their middle lane, disrupting the plans of Fnatic Onyx Philippines. And again, Opie stepping up to the plate, connecting with the Iron Hooks, connecting with the Bloody Hunt. And again, going back at the item builds, first item, Winter Crown. So you know he's willing to dive in, cast that Flicker, Bloody Hunt, then eventually cast that Winter Crown to evade a potential death. Now CFU Gaming, all eyes are on the mid lane. Brusko pops his conceal. As CFU Gaming just really trying to get the upper hand here, providing a lot of vision, but look at Kirk, okay? He's not gonna make a play there, but he does have a lot of information, especially coming in to this very first Lord.
Given the information that they need. This is the thing, Opie, you know, he's, I don't know, that Winter Crown really helping him out, landing the hooks that he needs to land. And now that the Lord is up, Fnatic actually gets checked into a position where they can't confidently just go ahead and start this up and take it. You know, they really have to respect the fact that CFU has been winning the past few minutes. Yeah, that tier 2 was down in the mid lane, but at what cost at the same time? There it is again. King Kong will avoid that hook. They're going to crash down looking for Wadu, but there's Kirk with the kick right on the mark, and then the Raging Sandstorm in the backside. They're cut off into 2. Brusko will heal back up, and Detective gets taken out. A great team fight from FNOP, and now the Lord on their sights for the taking.
Just like that, Fnatic once again back on top, back on full control. We'll get an uncontested Lord for the taking. And this is what happens when the Iron Hook is already casted. King Kong was able to evade that. That's why CFU Gaming, they had no initiation during that time. They had no time to diversion out of the play. And Fnatic Onyx, they were just on the chase. Brusko, I mean, casting the Raging Sandstorm to make sure that CFU Gaming cannot retreat. And at the same time, Kirk with legit can do Flicker combination to make sure that they get the necessary kills that they need for CFU Gaming to not contest for this Lord anymore. And looking at the gold difference, 8.1k for Kelra, clearly having a good time with this Harith. But the problem is Kelra's not the main problem. It's going to be Super Prince. Later, it's Super Prince now. So CFU Gaming, they really have to go for the backline and make sure to contain Super Prince.
This is insane, too. King Kong, level 15, the Detectives, level 11. I mean, they're going to clear out this Lord just fine. But Kirk goes in with a kick again, the way the Dragon right on the mark. And Wadu taken out in an instance. And that's the overload of damage that this lineup from FNOP gives. They won't get to the base turrets just yet. Looks like CFU will be able to hold on to the shields unless they put the pressure in this mid lane. Just trying to get the shields down. Not sure if they're able to. They do dodge that hook. So that might be all they get. Still eyes up here on the top side from FNOP to get that tier 2 down.
Okay, so now it's in the hands of Z. OP, I mean, he's been connecting with the Iron Hooks, connecting with the Bloody Hunt, and this time they really need to have a beautiful diversion play. Might be to contest for the second Lord, might be to catch Fnatic Onyx PH off guard when they're going to get the purple buff like this potential play.
All right, they're going to be seen. And, you know, I think that's what CFU has to do. You know, they've done relatively well throughout the mid to late game transition of this game, but I think now they've got to really rely on the diversion use. They've got to be able to go ahead and maybe pull a surprise on Fnatic Onyx Philippines through this, because you're seeing it. Just like we got a preview earlier, there's the stat count for Super Prince right now. So you got 207.
Yeah, and we just clarified a while ago during the at the backstage at the Talent Lounge that there's no cap when it comes to the stacks of the Sicilian. So if this game goes to a really long game, it's going to be beneficial actually for the side of Fnatic, Onyx, Philippines. But with a 4.5k gold lead, I don't think they'll even reach the late game with how Fnatic is playing right now, unless we go back to your point. Z performs a phenomenal diversion play, catch Super Prince off guard. Again, it's a suppress Bloody Hunt from OP. And if you manage to get Super Prince or even just Kelra, Fnatic Onyx can actually force Fnatic Onyx to back away and eventually get the Lord for themselves. And looking at the item builds, there's a Malefic Gun, Sea Helper, for Sing. So in terms of damage, physical damage, they're not gonna lack that. They can actually make a potential burst play, especially if OP again catches someone with his Iron Hook.
It's gonna have to. This time around, they're gonna set up around this Lord. There's a concealed. Brusko gives him the information. Wadu again at the front of it all. The Lord's going to be taken, and CFU tries to take it. Detective will be able to secure the Lord, but who's going to win the fight? Wadu in trouble. He goes down. The trade already, the 1 for 2, but Kirk on the hunt, looking for it. Flickers in. There's the kick, but the diversion will save him. They get back to base with a crown there, and now FNUP has to clear out the Lord. Good usage, though, to stay alive for CFU. But FNUP, how are they going to play around this? They have 4 members ready to go ahead and push in.
Detective got left behind with that diversion play. He became the sacrificial lamb for CFU Gaming. That's why CFU, they weren't able to utilize the Lord that Fnatic Onyx easily bursted down, and now they have to watch out for the range that Super Prince has been showing with the Sanguine Claws, with the Bat's Impact, especially at this point in the game. Already has 200 plus stacks with the Bat's Impact, and it's going to be crucial for CFU Gaming to get the necessary pickoffs that they need. OP once again needs to find the proper target. Super Prince, Kelra, King Kong, or King Kong whenever there's a neutral objective like the Lord for the taking. And at this point, Fnatic Onyx Philippines 5k, they're just really waiting for that Lord once again before they end this game. But there's the diversion play. Are they gonna commit though?
Diversion again, right into Brusko's arms, locked down too, but they're gonna fight anyway. Kirk gone out of the picture as well. Super Prince firing off from the backside, pops the Bat's Feast, and the Bat Impacts are too much to handle. Super Prince and King Kong will get the wipeout. The 2 of them will march down the mid lane, and it's way too long for the rest of these death timers to come up. They march in with the minions. The mid turret's gonna go down. They should have enough clear to go ahead and close out the game as King Kong and Super Prince will cap out this best of 1 against CFU Gaming.
The Super Family once again reigns supreme. Despite the unexpected diversion play, despite the pickoff onto Brusko, you cannot count out the mechanics, the Sicilian of Super Prince, one of the most unsung heroes in this M series. What a huge win for Fnatic, going up 2-0 in the standings, Naisu. I mean, do you expect CFU though to be this aggressive, to go head-to-head with Fnatic Onyx? Because this was quite a close match, and I'm just really excited what the panel has to say for this phenomenal performance, this phenomenal game. Panel, take it away.
Again, the first Sicilian in MPL Philippines Season 4 team to leave a lasting mark, and he brings it to the world stage. Hell of a performance by the Prince of Darkness.
Monster Mage.
The Monster Mage.
Really good stuff based on what we've seen. However, I will say at least CFU, despite having a difficult comp, again, most people would have expected, oh yeah, it's unplayable, right? Every hook that you land, if it's not a priority target, it ain't worth it. You bloody hunt anybody, it's gonna get canceled out, no problem. OP straight away, didn't even go greed out for a fleeting time, went straight into the Winter Crown to make things happen.
Yeah, you could tell from the CFU side there was a lot of respect from what they did in game. Their rotations and their itemization. That you cannot take away from them, Leo.
It's as proactive as you can get against a team that drafted a lineup that they were very comfortable with, but just the same is experimental enough that you'll have to temper your expectations. So see if you were juggling a lot going into this match.
We'll break down the game a little bit more later on, but of course, let's hear first from a member of Fnatic Onyx Philippines with Rose.
Fnatic Onyx Philippines getting very, very comfortable in the Swiss stage 2-0, just 1 step away from the knockout stage. And with me over here, we have Brusko. First of all, Brusko, how are you feeling? How are you doing?
Mabuti kasi nagawa namin yung ginagawa namin sa scrim.
Okay, he said he feels good because they managed to pull off what they usually do in scrims. Okay, now as we all know, right now Fnatic Onyx Philippines 2-0, and you guys are a force to deal with. Technically, you guys are going full force. Now, I have a question. What is the biggest contribution to your success this year?
Siguro yung number one na contribution niyo, si Coach. Kasi siya yung tumulong sa akin talaga nung nasa baba pa ako. Parang sinabi niya sa akin, kaya man, may tiwala kami sa'yo.
Oh, okay. So he feels as if the biggest contribution to his performance this year is actually his coach. Because when he was at his technically lowest, his coach was always motivating him and telling him that, you know what, you got this, we trust you, just keep moving forward, we got you. So I like that a lot. Okay, Brusko, since you guys are the champion of MPL Philippines, and we all know that the Philippines are the defending champions of M Series, and not just that, but also 4 times in a row, do you feel extra pressured by your fellow Filipinos?
Siguro po hindi po kami na-pressure Parang excited pa kami na kami magde-defend ng championship.
Wow, okay. This is nice. He said that actually, him as a Filipino, he doesn't feel pressured playing on the world stage because it gives him the extra drive to actually perform better and hopefully defend the world championship for the Filipino team. Okay, last question, personal question to ha. Okay, now we both know that the last match of the day, you will have your ex-coach, Coach Ren in Team Spirit, and your ex-team, RRQ. Who do you want to get a 2-0 so that you can potentially meet them tomorrow?
RRQ.
RRQ, why RRQ?
Mga kaibigan ko mga nandun
All your friends, so like friendly rivalry also. Do you have anything to say to them?
Sana magkatapat tayo bukas.
Okay, he said, I hope to meet you guys tomorrow. Thank you very much, Brusko. An amazing performance from Fnatic Onyx Philippines. And with that, let us right back to the panel to break down what happened in this incredible game against CFU Gaming.
The Bruiser staying humble and already telling the world, yeah, no, we are motivated to defend the World Championship for the Philippines. Congratulations again to Fnatic Onyx PH. And yeah, going back to what we were talking about earlier, CFU did test Fnatic Onyx PH at key times. But Leo, I think you and I both gotta admit here, that felt like classic Fnatic Onyx PH in the sense of, oh no, they lost the fight. But what is the opponent actually getting in the map?
Yep, that's the secondary nature of Fnatic Onyx greatness, their macro sense. The fact that even on a micro level, the fact that they're so adept at team fighting, they know even the limits of what their opponents are capable of getting, and they're able to, again, through the leadership of the Monster Mage, through Super Friends, say, yeah, no, I see where this is going, it's fine, keep going, keep going. And maybe there were 1 or 2 moments wherein even the likes of the Beast King Kong would look for more than he could have gotten. Yeah. Got punished on the backswing of that too. Understood that that wasn't as hard of a punish as possible. So this is just Fnatic Onyx playing into their style. Again, respect to CFU Gaming, but there wasn't much that they were doing to really test what Fnatic Onyx was capable of.
I think at the very least, it just goes to show that they have the mechanics at least to challenge, and honestly some really good ideas to make something that feels impossible very possible in this game, right? OP, for an example, taking that Winter Crown, such an integral part to their composition because they need to play around that Bloody Hunt, but at the same time, look at how greedy the lineup we see from Fnop's side. Super Friends must maintain maximum distance at all times. Why? Because he has a Flicker and not a Purify. So if he gets hit by a hook, it's pretty much game over for him, right? But then we look across the board. Where is all this money coming in from King Kong? And like you guys mentioned, the macro sense comes into play. We lose 3 on the bot side of the map, but we get 2 tier 1 turrets, as well as your top side jungle on top of your purple buff at the same time. And then we look to collapse later down the line, maybe even sacrifice another kill, but as long as we trade equally, there is a gold surplus.
Now that we're talking about King Kong, check out his boots of choice, the cooldown boots. This is going to come in handy when you're looking at the highlights. I don't know if you'll catch a few of these moments, but you'll see that he's so good at dodging key ults, so good at dodging Spears of Alpha, so good at dodging hooks from the Franco, because he uses, if I'm not mistaken, the Surge. Tap Surge right when he sees the hook coming in, clicking it as a tap, coming back into the fight with a hold something else. Definitely because of his extra cooldown and his just out of this world game sense.
Yeah, I think that's something that a lot of our really tenured viewers would like us to point out as a panel. Yes, we saw those moments wherein the hook of the Franco would land, but the interesting interaction with that Suyo Blade Surge dagger toss. The moment that dagger is tossed, nothing is going to stop the Suyo from actually teleporting to it. So the times where you saw the hook latch onto the Suyo, but the Suyo still got to dash away, that's because the dagger was already thrown out. Great little micro learning from us here, because we don't see Franco often, especially up against a Suyo. So it's great that we got to witness it here.
Must have been something they've been practicing in scrims.
Maybe. That could be something that they've been practicing. But also one more thing in his choice of boots. He could have gone tough boots if he wanted to, but opted not to and went for CDR. And that's just to compensate for the recent nerfs towards Suyo's side, increasing his cooldown. This makes him feel a lot better coming into the mid-game and more similar to where he was before.
Yeah, it makes him a little bit more high risk, high reward, but not with two very great Suyo performances under his belt. I think it's a little bit more rewarding for King Kong to actually end up with that hero, so that might be something that teams that will be facing off against FNOP in the best of threes in the 2-0 side of the bracket will look into taking out away from him. Excuse me, Super Friends, what the heck is that damage?
Yup, I was going to point that out as well. Super Friends, he's dealing too much. It's ridiculous what he's getting away with here. And at the same time, you would have imagined that CFU is looking to compromise his position, especially when you have Wadu on a Hilda of all things. But even then, yeah, you gotta give credit where credit is due. Space being created by Kirk, information being relayed by both Kelra as well as Kirk, allowing Super Friends and King Kong to make some efficient decisions on the map.
Not to mention Brusko. Brusko, in effect, kind of pushes them away into a place where Super Friends can say, yep, that's where I'm landing my ults, that's where I'm landing my claws and my feasts.
Yeah.
And my, what's the other one?
Bad impact.
The impacts. There you go. So if Brusko and Kirk are giving this kind of information, Super Friends is landing the damage there. If not, they suffer from Kelra.
World, this is Prince Miguel Ramirez, someone who has been often overlooked at home, now finally making a big impact on a championship-winning team. Still, for some reason, overlooked. But now, here he is on the world stage saying, look at me, I am a monster mage. 4-1 and 12 on that Sicilian.
It's a stellar performance. Truly a dangerous force in that mid lane, and he somehow consistently provides these types of performances, right? Let's quickly look at the highlights here real quick, because again, you'll just notice that he is just doing absolutely everything right. Chunking out Z before he can even play the game, and that allows them to actually open up more opportunities. Look at his positioning here. Runs past two people and sets it up to ensure that he gets maximum damage while still avoiding alpha. Like, these moments keep going on and on and on. Nothing seems to get past him.
And I think we're also reminded as to why Super Friends, or excuse me, the Sicilian is a pick that's often reserved, saved best for last, but it's gone so well. Remember, earlier today, we saw another iconic mage Sicilian performance in Coffin.
That's right.
From Twisted Minds.
And you'll see the same thing. Once the Sicilian knows, or the player on Sicilian finds where the opponents are, it just follows. That's the nature of the hero. The bat's impact, after it hits, you get it on cooldown, it hits again, it's better damage, it's more pain. And looking at the lineup from CFU, we mentioned this, how the Hilda, the Alpha, and the Franco are going to suffer because of their range.
Yep. The poke, the crowd control that the Sicilian can dish from afar will make heroes like that struggle. And even more so if the Sicilian controlling it is really difficult to catch out. Again, congratulations to Fnatic Onyx Philippines. And hey, I just heard something. We have our first ever big oopsie moment for the M6 series, M6 Swiss stage. What is that oopsie moment?
Which oopsie moment is it?
No.
Wait, let's look carefully. Where exactly does this happen?
Where is it? Where is it? Okay, detective gets the Lord. Where's the oopsie? Which was the oopsie? Oh no, it's the kick, it's the kick, it's the kick.
Yeah. The build up and gone. It's so funny to see. You can see how much trust the teammates have in each other, and then the detective is like, I don't trust this portal at all.
Never mind.
Yeah. I mean, it's like a double-edged oopsie moment. Detective trying to get there, just Prince blocked him. Yeah, and of course, Kirk tried to kick the Beatrix out of the circle.
But the range wasn't big. No, I'm pretty sure the kick range was big enough, but the diversion,
yes, the collapse.
The game logic already stated, yeah, we're getting this Bea out of here. And for a second, Zing was just standing there. Right? Like, oh, I didn't expect him to be alive.
Yeah, like, what's gonna happen?
Ran back.
I mean, cut back to Cho just going, what did that to the air?
Yeah.
Literally to nothingness.
Like the animation, you see the Cho just punching air, and I'm pretty sure if we go to the Bay and see the Bay going, oh yeah, we're already in the base. So yeah, cute little moment there. But I heard some woos from the crowd. I feel like, you know, I think a crowd favorite has entered. It's the last match after all, so that means members of the kingdom are entering. As RRQ Hoshi, though they failed to capture the throne yet again in Indonesia, will now go up against the Dragons of the North. Team Spirit has held on to the EECA region for how many years now? 3 solid years?
Technically, you can say 3.
Technically, you can say 3 because of the spirit of the knights within these dragons back when they were Deus Vult. Banger coming up?
Oh yeah, big banger here. Kingdom versus Team Spirit, RRQ against Dragons. It's going to be a good one because both have been looking real good and real clean.
We broke PC use yesterday thanks to the efforts of the Kingdom and their opponents. Now, Team Spirit fans, RRQ Hoshi fans, you guys are going to duke it out. So please, tell your friends, share the broadcast, and join us for the final match of the day in the Swiss stage as we come back from a very short break.
ultimate glory starts now.
Mobile Legend M6 スイスウォッチ Meiji Hello Panda, Hello Panda, semua suka biskuitnya. Biskuitnya enak, isinya lezat, rasa coklat dan strawberry. Hello Panda, semua suka biskuitnya. Biskuitnya enak, isinya lezat, rasa coklat dan strawberry. Hello Panda, biskuit isi yang enak.
Kingdoms rise, kingdoms fall, and they rise yet again. Yet it seems like in the north, the rule of dragons is eternal. RRQ Hoshi, the kingdom, long may they reign, hasn't reigned for quite some time. But it looks like on the world stage, they're ready to make a big return. But the dragons have been hungry, hungrier than ever as the world seeks to be greater than ever. This match is going to be so epic. It's RQ Hoshi versus Team Spirit, folks. Welcome back to the panel. My name is Ranmar Santa Cruz, joined here by Leo and Gideon Q. Yeah, well, we want to see it banger for sure, banger coming up your way. And if you want to really smack dab banging awesome plays, Kidia. It's the gaming and esports district that unites gamers, communities, and fans across all genres and walks of life. RQ Hoshi and Team Spirit, if you're an esports fan, these are organizations that transcend multiple esports titles. So I think that adds a lot to the lore of this match.
One might say if you're a Team Spirit fan or you're an RRQ fan, member of the kingdom, it's a lifestyle. It's not just something you do when they're playing. It's something that you're actually living out. And these kinds of teams, the way that they play, I can say in a best of one, are some of the most value for your money, for your time, best of ones.
I think everybody has been waiting for this particular matchup here, and that's why it's always at the very end of the day that we're seeing these big bangers actually happening. And honestly, between these two teams, it's really tough to say who's going to come out on top. Both having really good showings in both of their own individual matchups, but at the same time, when you pair them together against each other, really, I can't really say who's going to come up on top.
Yeah, I mean, the Spirit Empire has been established in the EECA. They've ruled there for quite some time, but there's something about the Spirit of RRQ now heading into this M6 World Championship that just speaks of, wow, they might actually finally go in a deep international tournament run, maybe even compete for grand finals.
And I think this is coming off the back of their top 4 finish at M5.
Yeah.
They went really deep, and I think if they do that again here, or close to it, they can prove that what happened in Manila is not a fluke. They can do it again in Kuala Lumpur and prove to the world that the Empire of Spirit is real and is here.
I think the exciting part about this matchup is that even if we go lane by lane, who exactly wins this, right? I think that, you know, obviously we're going to be looking towards EXP sides of the match, obviously with Kid Bomba being a big standout for the team, but at the same time, I think supports from either side also pair a very good argument to being the X factors.
Yeah, I feel like the EXP lane is a really great spot. That isn't a prediction, please. The EXP lane is a good way to look at it. With Kid Bomba's impact and how he has really been, how do I say this, respected, touted as one of the best EXP laners of this current generation by not just his opponents, by his opponents, rather. Different players, different coaches as well. While on the other side, you have Dyron, who I feel like now, with the run that he had in MPL IT, is so hungry to finally get out of that old image of him. And so far, I feel like he's had a good showing in international tournaments. I mean, they were doing really well as well before. Unfortunately, they got eliminated in SPS.
A huge comparison would be in the gold lane between Skylar and the young Hiko. Is that not the best comparison? Is that not the best juxtaposition between these two large entities from their respective regions, right? Because Skylar is now King Skylar, and he is the pinnacle of RRQ's strategy. Like, you activate Skylar, all is well. On the other hand, Team Spirit, I don't think it's such a safe strategy to put all your eggs in one basket, especially the Hiko basket. They need to rely on one shot, they need to rely on Sunset Lover, and spread out that pressure. So you see the difference here, you see the juxtaposition of all in on Skylar, not so much on Hiko.
I mean, I really think that having multiple win conditions this time around is going to be a very important aspect of this game, because not everybody can play for a singular basket, and we've seen that RRQ, they play multiple playstyles over the past couple of years, and obviously Skylar being a large majority of them when the next generation RRQ did decide to show up. Again, his marksman is known and is extremely notable for hard carrying games, but in a meta like this, it's a big ask for him.
Yeah, and especially one thing you have to consider. On the side of RRQ, you have Skylar with a bunch of young guns. In Team Spirit, Hiko is the young gun, as well as one shot, but Sawa, Sunset Lover, Kid Bomba, that's 3 veterans on one side carrying or helping guide 2 young bloods. On one side, it's just Skylar, seriously, as the king, telling his young teammates to trust him. That's such a difficult ask.
It is.
Yeah.
It is.
Let's know more about this matchup. It's RRQ Hoshi versus Team Spirit.
If you are doubting our nomination at the Game Awards, this is Mobile Legends Bang Bang Esports.
Oh, we got RRQ Hoshi. There you go. He was so close. That's a scary team too, though. Oh man, Team Spirit. But it's okay.
Para sa amin, mas magiging maingat sa best of 1. Kasi sobrang crucial ng bawat team kasi 3 talo lang laglag ka na sa M6.
We just play like try to make less mistake and try to be more careful in game.
Any team can do cheese strats against any other team.
Malaysia, once early it was SRG, now it's Vamos.
Best of 1 is like 50-50. I think anyone can win.
Of teams stepping up.
You may see some crazy picks in draft, so it's really unpredictable, and then it will bring a lot of fun.
They were so prepared for this stage.
You should go out from the first round and you cannot disrespect any opponent that you face. If you do, then you might catch yourself losing a game. Then all of a sudden you're 0-1. Then you play versus a good team. They prepared something against you. All of a sudden you're 0-2. Everybody's mental is down. You get out 0-3. Everybody's embarrassed.
Di Swiss format ini bagus karena ya 3 kali main langsung lolos playoff kan. Jadi pasti udah nggak ada yang kayak coba-coba gitu sih, apalagi BO1.
A quick game for Team Spirit as they just suffocated.
Ya itu tadi Team Spirit, mereka gameplaynya unik lah. Mereka adaptif, di in-game-nya adaptifnya cepet mereka.
For me, got friend like how to play micro and the hero metric like and the hero power and your skill. I consider us, Team Spirit, to be the dark horse. It's not only that, we have actually got the power to prove that we can keep up.
We'll be able to capture a cup. But RRQ stay in form as they win.
If you want to win, just win 1 game. Who knows? Let's see. I'm up for a surprise.
If you want to win, just win one game. If you want to win that one game, just be better. Better than great. Greater than ever. Wait, that was last year. RRQ Hoshi and Team Spirit. I like the link between these two, and a very important one is the coach. Coach Vren, of course, was with RQ Hoshi earlier this year, yeah, if I'm not mistaken. And, well, I feel like that gives Team Spirit this... Is it crazy to say it gives them a weird edge? That now, even though a lot of the members that Coach Vren coached isn't there, the one that is expected to guide this young generation is someone that Coach Vren coached. He coached Skylar.
It's an interesting take here because it could go both ways, right? Because Coach Vren, not only is he considered to be a world-class coach as well as an analyst.
World champion coach.
World champion coach. I will not deny his accolades, but at the same time, he's coming up with some interesting ideas during his peak, during that championship run. So that just might be what we see here today.
And I think we're gonna see something that was shared to us by Coach Vren. He's actually not a draft-driven coach, contrary to popular belief of us painting Coach Vren as a master, unique drafter. He focuses on the gameplay, and he's actually getting quite stressed at a BO1. Preparation only gets you so far. That is so true. We've actually heard from a lot of interviews from the teams, especially who are now in the 01 and even 02 bracket, that it's so hard to prepare for a bunch of BO1s against different teams.
But luckily, I'd say Coach Vren already mentioned the solution to the problem at hand. He is a gameplay coach. So whatever happened yesterday, he can pinpoint, all right, boys, you can do this better. You can do this cleaner, especially up against a big opponent the next day, where we are today, RRQ Hoshi. I think the fact that he is more of a gameplay coach should benefit Team Spirit.
Yeah, that makes sense. Wouldn't you say, Gideon, that sort of grounds then, like, instead of thinking of oh my goodness, drafting, like, it's so difficult, you think about the gameplay. We'll get back to you later. Speaking of gameplay, here's a team that played really damn well yesterday. It's RRQ Hoshi from Indonesia.
I've seen the kingdom in full force before. I've seen them rise and as well as fall. It's Skylar, Edog, Rin, Sutsujin, and as well as Dairin. This team has not hit its plateau just yet, and that's the scary part about them. There are more areas that they can improve in, and they've shown that they can play multiple different styles depending on the scenario. The question is the mental prepared for this best of one? Because if they get too caught in the sauce against a team like Spirit, things can get chaotic very quickly.
I'm glad you mentioned that. You can't overheat, but I gotta admit, as nice as would say, RRQ Hoshi yesterday were pretty man-tapped. They were cool with how they were playing. Let's look at their opponents, the Dragons of the North. Team Spirit, Leo, I know you are a big fan of this team.
A huge fan. I've seen them through their Deus Volt days. I've seen them through their pre-Team Spirit days. And the fact that Sawo and Sunset Lover are still here, they've taken Kid Bomba under their wing, One Shot and Hiko, the young guns. I think their playstyle is evolving right before our eyes. With Deus Volt, they were very Divide gaming. In their last season in MCC Continental, they changed their style. It's still very explosive, still very Kid Bomba-led, but I'd say just like RRQ, we talked about this, it's not just about the Skylar show. It's not just about the Kid Bomba show. It's not just about these veterans. I think there's a breadth of growth for Team Spirit, even in these best of ones.
And on the other side, of course, to help grow a young squad, you gotta have a great coach with you, or a great leader. So we asked the coach of RRQ Hoshi, how is Skylar like as a team leader? Kezcute says that the role fits him and he took up the responsibility too, because he's one of the few who built the roster. Oh, that's cool. He helped build the roster. So maybe Skylar had a hand in picking Rins, Idok, and Dairin?
Truly, like a king, literally picking out his favorite sons to be able to say, hey, this is the next generation of RRQ.
I like how Coach Kezcute put it as, I recommended Sutsujin, blah, 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 the roster worked, and we got to M6. I like how he just breezes over their entire run. Blah, 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 we're in M6 now.
Blah, blah, blah covers a breadth of processes. Of course, we had to go 7 games against Liquid.
Yeah, and then even Skylar says there at the end, I choose them because we have the same humor.
Isn't that the same thing with Fnatic Onyx PH, though?
Hey, personalities driving together makes a strong team. The more people that you have who think along the same lines as you, whether it be humor, whether it be in gameplay, it shows up on the game stage.
And that's what makes RRQ's templated approach their macro excellence in a metagame that people would dub the brawl meta. That's what makes them great. That's what makes them a threat here against Team Spirit.
I'm going to also make an argument that the coaches play a huge role. Kescute, in this particular scenario, not only does he have to draft, but he also has to make sure that everybody is at their top, that top performance to make sure that the macro can be executed. We've seen teams, they've got the right ideas, but they just can't push it all the way to the end.
Veteran MOBA wisdom from Kescute, and then the World Championship gameplay coaching of Coach Vren. Even in the draft, it should be a chess match.
Right now, as we are in the chess match, RQ Hoshi, the kingdom is on the red side as the Dragons of the North take the first pick. Fun fact about Sawo, the roamer of Team Spirit. He is second in total assists in M-Series history, 411. Next only to Oh My Venus with 561. Hiko is also the youngest player in M6, scored the highest GPM among gold laners in day one with 988. Team Spirit, I feel like their picks here, especially in the front line, have to provide a lot of zoning and a lot of spacing for Hiko and One Shot to shine.
Well, talking about zoning and spacing, Zushin is wide open for the first pick coming in from Team Spirit.
And they go ahead and pick it up. By the way, Team Spirit's Hiko is 14-0 with the Harith. In the Continental Championship. That is the tournament in EECA. So will Harith be opened by RRQ, or will they surprisingly maybe pick it up in the first two?
He's 16 years and 6 months old while having a perfect record on Harith. He is a young prospect for this team, and he's going up against a veteran who's been playing this game for a very long time.
Skylar grew before our eyes. I remember when Skylar was still a rookie, and now he's the right. Now he's here. He's the leader of RRQ in game, and facing off against him is Hiko.
A young, hot-blooded gold laner. I bet Skylar's looking at Hiko and saying, you kind of remind me of myself.
I like a younger Skylar.
Like a younger Skylar, maybe. Let's see. Will they pick the Harith here? The undefeated pick in the MCC for Hiko.
Oh, this could be interesting because again, I feel like whoever wants to go for these power picks initially is going to get punished. So you go for the super safe ones. You're making sure that you have that combination down, but a bold claim, and Skylar's gonna say, hey, it's Wan time. One of his signature picks, but even so, he's made a name for himself time and time again, even when you think, nah, Wan shouldn't be good here.
All right, as we head into the second phase, no mid laner yet for Rins and RRQ Hoshi. I think if RRQ Hoshi want to help supplement this 1-1, they definitely need burst.
I'm thinking about disengage at the same time. Burst and disengage, a couple of things come to mind, and especially when it comes down to the mid lane, I'm thinking Aurora. I'm also thinking about Vexana as well, both of which would do all right, because Yves is already gone, and that probably would have been the priority pick had it been let through the bans.
Ooh, respecting the Angela possibility still in the mid lane for RRQ Hoshi from Team Spirit. Interesting.
Yeah, between Liquid and RRQ, like that Angela X is such a big threat. So Coach Vren just covering his bases here.
Yeah, I get it. Makes sense. So now, even though RQ Hoshi need burst, Team Spirit are still looking to respect. I'm thinking, are they going to respect an XP laner pick for Dyron now? Because I feel like they still definitely need a strong, tanky front. Edith isn't a popular pick in Indonesia, so maybe they might default into more of the tank-heavy ones, sort of like the Terizla.
I mean, I suppose, but I think, you know, right now, Kescute is doing a good job at trying to pinch down on the gold lane, which is probably going to be the biggest problem, because if we're looking at Vren's side, right, as long as you're able to kind of deny farm from your enemy jungler, it's not going to have as much impact in comparison to eventually the scaling marksman that comes later down the line. Not to mention, there's not much burst besides the alpha at this point of time. I mean, Zushin is there, but again, she's not the quote-unquote burst hero you depend on.
That's true. Ooh, low Yi.
Smart.
So yeah, really hard focus on the mid lane here for Team Spirit. So it feels like Team Spirit are telling RQ Hoshi, let's fight. We want this to be an honest approach to the game. No one going in for any crazy macro plays. We'll see you in the objectives. We'll see you in the river.
Yep, they're letting through the Vex, letting through the Aurora. Farsa has become a more in-demand hero these days. So if you're looking at Team Spirit's draft, besides the high loss, the Farsa would be fine facing off against an Alpha or Jushin.
We keep doing this. We say Farsa first, but then we need to remember that Sicilion is still an option as well. If you're looking for a scaling type of mid laner, that probably should have been the way to go. But now they're thinking about disengage. Now they have CC to complement on top of the fact that they've got a decent amount of lockdown, whether it be the Blade Surge, whether it be the G-Kundo, into the way of the Dragon.
So now Team Spirit are probably thinking about whether they'll keep this high loss in the room or is it going to go into the EXP. Wait, you mentioned CC. I know you were saying crowd control, but what about CC for Kid Bomba?
It's not going to be good enough here, especially when you're blind picking it into potentially Cho or X at this point, right?
That's true, yeah. You still don't see the matchup.
Exactly. I mean, you're going to have to go blind no matter what.
Yeah. All right, let's see what they'll give Kid Bomba or Sao. We're still looking at the flex and the gold laner as well. Harith for Hiko still open.
Khalid's open.
Oh, Khalid, yeah. See what it is? Oh, it's the Akai XP.
Side lane Akai!
They've shown this. I was actually thinking about it because the 1-1's on the other side, and it's one of the age-old responses to a 1-1. You pick a Kai at some point, and here comes the Granger. But I like this glue by RQ.
Yeah, great response here. I mean, they were expecting to have an EXP winning matchup, and I think that, Keskut has done a very good job here. Vren, very good idea with the Granger, because now Granger Zushin plus the high loss, an extremely deadly combo, and you have disengage on top of it.
But there's a clear go for Dyren's glue. Like, he knows where to go. He knows where to find targets. 2 solid targets. Let's see if he wins the lane hard enough to do that.
My question for the Dragons, will you be able to take down Skylar before he flies? Ingan, Naisu, let's go.
Thank you so much, panel. And I think the question, the answer to Renmar's question, we'll find out right now between Team Spirit versus RRQ. And looking at the draft, Naisu, what can you say? First time picked the Akai for the side of Team Spirit. Seems like Coach Bren has something in the bag.
Yeah, and it's right now, maybe it's a lot of the Hello Panda we've been doing all day, but hey, I love to see it, bringing it to this matchup. It's going to be crucial for them.
So right now, as we can see, RRQ Hoshi. The performance of this team yesterday was really phenomenal. Again, Edok, unstoppable, unbelievable show plays. And this time, he's rocking the same hero at the roamer. But we can see right now, Team Spirit, they're not backing down. They want to get control of the mid, and they can do so because they have high pokes, the high loss, and the Aurora.
I think with that too, the fact that you have, RQ with a very, they can pick off pretty well. They can get tempo set up pretty well, and this is all what we've seen so far up to this point from them. The whole Kings of the Brawl server, can they keep the tempo going? Can they set the momentum right away? That's what they go for. Even with a little early action, just for the Lith Wanderer own, keeping things in check. But I think it's up to Team Spirit to be able to go ahead and match that. And so far, they've done a pretty good job. I mean, just the preview we got yesterday.
Yeah, and I think for RRQ Hoshi, they really have to even things out. But look at the Sunset Lover already with the pokes.
Wow, there's already a lot of damage coming out from Edok. He's actually going to not be able to pick up the kill. But here comes the rest. Asawa will fall. First blood in the hands of RRQ Hoshi.
And this is what we want from RRQ Hoshi, an early start, early aggression. They have to utilize the fact that they have Sutsujin with the Suyo in terms of taking neutral objectives. Again, paired up with the Sever is going to be easy, but looking at the emblems, anything unusual you see right now?
Nothing too crazy. Again, this I'm waiting to see, especially for Sunset Lover, to be able to pop off on this Jushin pick that you would naturally think it's picked up, it's prioritized a lot of times, but also how this works with the fact that you also have a hero in the Akai that we don't see too often, but it tend to be an answer. They're going to initiate a fight again. They get the flicker out though from Edok, so that's fine and good for Team Spirit. They're going to be able to start up this turtle. RQ Hoshi will get in position. They're waiting to get that orange buff locked in. Might be able to buy enough time. Dyren holding up the front. There's the lockdown with the Frigid Glacier, and Kid Bomba jumps on in with a heavy spin just to zone out Sutsujin as the turtle is secured. And now Dyren's going to back off as well. Good play for the objective from Team Spirit.
So far, so good. Coach Bren was actually saying that in terms of best of one, drafts, preparing for drafts will only get you so far, but it looks like they prepared very well. Kid Bomba, again, with the Akai pick, last pick, clearly knows his job, which is to soak up the damage, try to zone out Sutsujin as much as possible, because you can't go head-to-head with the Suyo early on. when it comes to neutral objectives, especially since the Sever and Retribution combination is there. But Hiko, on the other hand, looking at the emblem set, he does go with the impure ratio. We can expect a lot of sustain coming in from this Granger. So he can go head-to-head with Skylar in terms of the laning phase, even if it's a 1-1.
What do you think about that matchup? I know we haven't seen the Granger too much. You know, it popped up a couple times yesterday. But hold on. I don't think they can actually commit to this. Going back to it, what do you think of the matchup against the 1-1, at least for this Granger?
I think so far with the emblem set of Hiko, I think it's going to be easy for him, especially if the continuous rotation of the mid duo will go towards that gold lane.
Yeah.
Skylar is really going to have a hard time, really needs to maximize his veterancy, his experience up against a rookie Hiko. And so far, you'd expect Skylar to really lead or to really dominate the gold lane despite whatever heroes has been used because of Skylar's experience. But so far, Team Spirit, it seems like they're not backing down. They have the guidance of the 3 veterans in the form of Sunset Lover, Kid Bomba, and Sabo as well, who is in fact, as mentioned by Renmar, the 2nd highest in total assists in M Series history. Imagine that.
It's crazy to think because that statistic where, you know, Oh My Venus had what, like plus 100 on top of that stat, but definitely still working towards it. That veterancy comes into play for both teams really for this, but you know, still, you gotta imagine Hiko being the youngest player?
16
against a player the caliber of Skylar is definitely a true test for him. And so right now, as both teams get in position, 2nd turtle for the taking, couple shots with the Destinata here. But still, they gotta approach this carefully. They're gonna jump in. Dyren zones out the heavy spin, the Frigid Glacier to separate them for the fight. Sutsujin will be able to get the turtle, and now the flare brings them back as Dyren falls. Not sure if they still want to fight this. They're gonna back off. RQ gets the objective at the cost of a life of Dyren.
Okay, I think Thieves are right. That was a trade they were willing to take. They couldn't get any much closer to RQ Hoshi. Again, the threat of Edok, Jit Kundu, as well as the counter initiations that the Rins can't provide with the Frigid Glacier. They don't want to overextend as much as possible. So right now, they're just getting the things that they can against an aggressive lineup with RQ Hoshi right now. So far, not so much lead established by RQ Hoshi. Looking at the kill scoreboard, still 1-1. Man, Edok really needs to pop off like how he did it yesterday up against KBG if they really want to get a step closer to the knockouts.
I think either way, you know, whether it's Edok or not, they can kind of just take their time, really, with the lineup that RQ Hoshi has, especially with the fact that you have a 1-1 in your side and, you know, you want to be able to build up. Because later on, obviously, we've seen the Granger, especially late game, where the Granger in the gold lane eventually gets to. Able to set pace, able to go ahead and use that Destinata to its advantage, and then the Rhapsody. But I'm also wondering, you know, because you have to play against this Beacon and you have Sunset Lover on the Jushin pick here, RQ Hoshi has to kind of choose those fights at the right angle. Yeah, they can rely on a Frigid Glacier and they can rely on a kick to help them out, but there's a lot they have to do in consideration with this. Edok himself takes a couple shots. Go ahead and regen up. I'm not sure if they actually want to commit to this. The rest of the team rotating down. He does flicker defensively. They call it off, but he's dragged back by the Lantern, and that's what we're talking about with the Jushin.
Huge, quick response from Team Spirit. They did cast a glorious pathway, but it was well worth it. They were able to take down Edok. So this is like telling RQ Hoshi, hey Edok, we've watched how you played yesterday. You're not going to do the same unbelievable Jit Kundo kicks, unbelievable Way of the Dragon kicks you've been showing yesterday. And now Team Spirit, they're on the verge of securing another turtle away from RQ Hoshi.
We'll start things up again. Edok gonna join this fight. Doesn't care what happened earlier. Finds the Way of the Dragon, but he takes too much damage as one shot picks up a kill. Fight's gonna break out of the mid lane. The crossbow of Tang already popped off. The Frigid Glacier will be to lock down one shot. Still looking for the follow through as Sutsujin gets the turtle and they look for more. Kid Bomba and Sawo trying to run to the safety of the turtle. Hiko jumps in with a Rhapsody and will find a Dyren. And the shot though in response from Sutsujin. It's a brawl in the mid lane. The drag comes through, and now the flicker from Rins. Skylar's still alive, and it looks like they're going to disengage with Sutsujin tanking up the Rhapsody shots.
Literally a brawl server. They spent a huge amount of time just in the middle lane. Even if there was a neutral objective, Sutsujin eyes on the goal, focus on taking down that turret, and you can already see the problem with Skylar with the 1-1. They can soak up the damage of the crossbow of Tang. They have the high lows with the glorious pathway paired up with the revitalize, but Sutsujin though,
Good Soul Sever again. They got to be able to respect that damage, but ultimately no one going to go down, and that's the thing. They do get the tier 1 turret, so RQOshi has taken that path of let's just get these objectives. Yeah, they'll go ahead and fight out. They'll brawl it out wherever they want, but they'll also just focus on what's important. They got to be able to lock those down before that Lord comes up in less than a minute.
Yeah, for Team Spirit, they really have to utilize the early capabilities of their lineup. We've seen so far that the crossbow of Tang, even if it connected the Kid Bombar to Sao, it's almost, the damage is almost non-existent. So at this point, Team Spirit needs to be proactive, needs to dictate the pace, needs to stop RRQ Hoshi from getting the space that they need for Skylar to hyper carry in the end. And all gonna boil down to setups coming in from Kid Bombar, even Sunset Lover with Lantern Flare. So far, Naisu, what can you expect RRQ Hoshi to extend this lead?
To extend the lead, they can continue to go forward. Dyron gonna get locked down under this turret. Does flicker out, able to survive split too. Look at all the members up here, all for Dyron. And now he's gonna wait for the rest of the team as they were focused down in the mid. They drop down the glorious pathway. Edok defensively gets out. Look at that push there too. There's the kick. Way the dragon on the mark. That's Edok going down though in the exchange, and they're gonna get collapsed down. Double for Hiko, but Sawo finally taken down. But the Lantern Flare brings a triple to the youngest member in M6. Skylar trying to pop off, looking for the crossbow of Tang as he gets the airtime. Picks up a kill himself, and RQ Hoshi will still hold down the mid lane.
Another extended clash for both of these teams, equal trades. No, Team Spirit actually got 3, but the problem is RRQ Hoshi with Dyron's time bought for their team. Skylar was actually able to push down a bottom lane turret. So it's still the clash, even though Team Spirit got 3 kills. RRQ Hoshi got the better of that trade. And now, in fact, they can actually start things off with the Lord. Again, Edok goes in.
Takes too much damage! As Hiko picks up a kill, Destinata finding the mark on Rins. Rhapsody to follow, pops the passive. Sutsujin will be able to secure the Lord though, and Kid Bomba on the run. Sunset Lover trying to chase down Sutsujin, and Hiko is just popping off at this point as he picks up another.
Action is just non-stop. Both teams looking for trades, but again, RRQ Hoshi for the price of Edok, for the price of Sutsujin, they get the first Lord. They have a lot to work with right now, even with a 500 gold lead. Sunset, look at Skylar right now!
Talk about the confidence there, the veterancy showing. Skylar saw a kill, he goes and grabs it. The Lord is going to be worked on, but again, their focus is these turrets. They take the tier 1 out, now the tier 2 on the top side. RQ Hoshi will play into that first Lord take.
Wow, just going back at what Skylar said before, that he wanted to guide 4 new members of RRQ Hoshi, first time M series. He wants them to guide to victory, and clearly so far, he's doing that. They're on the driver's seat, 1.9k, although there are extended clashes that sometimes go in the favor of Team Spirit, but most of the time go in the favor of RRQ Hoshi. You can clearly see the veterancy of Skylar, the shot calls that this team is doing. 1.8k gold lead. Already no outer turrets in the bottom lane and the top lane. And if you're Team Spirit at this point, what can you do to stop the dominance that Skylar has been showing?
Well, they can utilize Hiko here as we get a little preview of the stacks he's got. And this is one of the things that can play a part in Team Spirit obviously staying in the game. It's nothing too crazy, you know, it's just a 2,000 gold deficit that Team Spirit has to work against. And if they can utilize Hiko's power spike, but this could be troublesome. Again, the kick gonna find the mark in trouble. Winter Crown gonna be used already. One shot trying to stay alive, but Skylar pops in the air again, gets the airtime into the frigid glacier. They find one shot, and now RQ will set their sights on the mid tier 2.
A lot of ultimates committed from the side of RRQ Hoshi, but the best part is they were able to take down one shot, and literally Edok was one shot away from dying, but safely evades a potential death. So RRQ Hoshi, this time, even though they're committing a lot to those 5-man clashes, they're making sure that Team Spirit doesn't have opportunities to go for trades. And in 40 seconds, RRQ Hoshi again can extend their lead by taking down a Lord. And this time, they have huge control over the map. Almost just really keeping Team Spirit at bay there by their base. And now, the counterattacks that RRQ Hoshi just keep showing again, Rins. You have to commend the Aurora with the beautiful frigid glacier, with the beautiful frosty breeze. really setting themselves up perfectly, even with the Glorious Pathway, even with Kid Bomba's Akai. They're starting to have doubts if they would go in because of the counter initiation of the potential of RRQ Hoshi.
This is tough too. Skylar just picking up the Wind of Nature. Sutsujin also Malefic Roar. Big item picks up at this point. 13 minutes of the game. The Lord already started up, and look how fast it's going. I'm not sure if Team Spirit can actually get here in time. They fire off a couple shots, and the Lord already secured by RRQ. They can just back off, and it looks like they'll do just that as they get ready to go ahead and knock on the base of Team Spirit. And with this kind of lead now in their favor, Kid Bomba jumps in. Might have made a mistake here, still gonna be able to survive, but oh no, Sutsujin will pick up the kill from the off angle.
I was about to say that that was the first neutral objective that doesn't have a post-neutral objective fight. But still, Team Spirit commits the flicker of, commits Kid Bomba's heavy spin to try and go for a trade once again, but RRQ Hoshi was always prepared for that. And again, we have to commit. Rins, always prepared for those kinds of dives coming in from Team Spirit. Whether it's a Frigid Glacier, whether it's a Frosty Breeze, he doesn't care. He's going to cast whatever he needs to bring down the Empire, and Ida goes in!
Ida jumps in again with the Way of the Dragon. They fight into the Frigid Glacier too. He does fall, and now the base turret's going to be worked on. Mid and bottom already down, the top to follow. RRQ with a lead, and the Lord still in tune. They hold on to the top turret. Oh, but the shot from Hiko will be able to find Rins. And that might have been enough to keep Team Spirit obviously into the game. And they hold on to one base turret.
Okay, so in terms of damage, you can already count on Hiko. He does have the Sky Piercer with 70 stacks. So clearly what Death Sonata shot was all he needs to take down Rins. Luckily, prior to that Death Sonata shot, the passive of the Aurora was already expended. So Team Spirit still clinging on to the final inhibitor turret up top. They can make engages. Again, they have the Glorious Pathway. They have Sunset Lover with the Shin. One good take like that could do things.
Bomba jumps in again. Tyron the target. They're going to fire off, and again, another kill for Hiko. Another stack added. And now they look for more. RQ on the defense. They're running. Even with two base turrets down, Team Spirit looking to make plays based off the heavy spin, based off the utility they have here with the lineup.
And this is the thing, this is actually their personality, this is actually their playstyle. According to them, they perform well under pressure. Looking at the current runs in the MCC, they're always used to crawling back to the top from the lower bracket. So in terms of pressure, Team Spirit so far is unbothered. Even Hiko has a slight gold lead up against Skylar with 13.2k gold lead. But at this point, does it even really matter? Because it's all going to boil down again into the macro gameplay that RRQ Hoshi can instill against Team Spirit.
This has been the story, especially with the Alpha, man. You know, it really falls behind in terms of farming. Oh, hold on, mid lane again. Kid Bomba going to jump in, finds Rins, and Rins is gone. As Team Spirit finds the pickoff right in time. We're 10 seconds away from this Lord. And without Rins, I don't know, RRQ Hoshi might have to second guess the fight, but they just want to duke it out. They're going to force Salo. He popped the Revitalize. Tyron jumps in, still has the Immortality, and one shot goes in too. But still, as they go ahead and size each other up, they'll back off. Skylar's still keeping them at bay. No one going for the Lord just yet. Again, a jump in from Sutsujin. They really want to limit test this, and he could jump in and start a fight. But it looks like they back off to reset.
RRQ Hoshi limit testing, just trying to buy enough time for Rins to respond. And they can actually do this because, again, they were able to take down two inhibitor turrets, one in the middle, one in the bottom lane. So Team Spirit, they really need to capitalize on the moment that they've given right now. The window continues to open for the squad. They need a huge major pickoff. That's like what they did against the Rins. And right now they're trying to start things off, trying to bait out RRQ Hoshi by starting the Lord.
Death Sonata here. Really troublesome to deal with RQ in the front side. They're going to be able to push Team Spirit off of this Lord, though. They look like they wanted to start it up. But you got to keep in mind, too, they've got the two base turrets down. So Team Spirit, how they approach it, who's going to be able to start the fight.
It looks like it's going to be a stalemate so far. RRQ Hoshi can indeed play the macro game here. A huge chunk of minions onto the bottom lane. They're going to wait a reaction from Team Spirit, but Team Spirit, they actually know this. They're actually trying to burst down the Lord.
There's the flicker in, forcing Hiko on the back. They were to use the Frigid Glacier, but one shot gets the Lord. looking for the fight to continue on as RQ will run into the jungle. They find the airtime. Sunset's gone. Heat goes gone. They lost all their damage as RQ Hoshi runs into the mid. They'll clear out the Lord and look for more as Skylar is unstoppable. And you can see it as they march into the base. The Kingdom, the Kings of the Brawl server will win this brawl tonight.
And a step closer for Skylar and his squad to qualify for the knockout. An amazing, intense performance from RRQ Hoshi. They lost the Lord, but they won the fight in the end by taking down 4, leaving Kid Bomba to fend for himself. What an amazing game, a huge performance, and a very huge win for RRQ Hoshi. That's why, panel, I need you to explain what happened during this game.
We got you, Ingen. The Kingdom takes the win, and they go up 2-0 in the brackets over the Northern Dragons. And we got it. Banger indeed.
You do not brawl against the brawl meta. That's exactly what happened, and from the early, mid to late, RRQ Hoshi had something in their pockets that would make Team Spirit fold. And at the end, when it mattered most, even after Team Spirit scored their very first Lord, the final brawl commenced.
I mean, when we were looking throughout this match, I'm looking at Edok. Can he get that kick? And he tried so many different times, and the one kick that mattered won them the game finally.
And the most difficult part there also for Team Spirit is that they were getting hella kills. They matched RRQ in kills. Hiko was 9-1-4, but they just couldn't convert to objectives. Before that, first objective is go to the stage with Rose for an interview.
The Kingdom taking another win in the bag during the Swiss stages. And right now, I am with Sutsujin. First of all, Sutsujin, welcome back to Malaysia. It's been a while since I've seen you. How are you?
Well, it feels great.
It feels great. Welcome back. Okay. Now, as we all know, before Sutsujin entered RRQ Hoshi, he played in MPL Malaysia, and I always interviewed this guy. So how different is it playing for the world stage this time around, World Championship in Malaysia?
I think there's no difference. It's the same.
Do you still love the crowd here?
Yeah, it's the same crowd.
Still crazy crowd?
Yeah, still crazy.
We love the Malaysian crowd. Okay, now, Sutsujin, we all know that you are one of the junglers who actually use Fredrin, utility. But today you pick Suyo, while the rest, like Sakai's and Mobazane, pick Fredrin. Yeah. Can you maybe share with us what is the condition that you look for before picking, before making sure that utility jungle is viable for your draft?
I think Fredrin is usually picked with heroes like Bruno that need tanks in the front line, so like that.
I see. So it's more towards if the MM or the other sides, the other lanes can give sufficient damage, then Fredrin is a good pick. Otherwise, you will need more damage. Is that what you're trying to say?
Yeah.
Okay, now you guys are at 2-0. Very, very comfortable in the Swiss round, right? Sutsujin, who do you want to meet tomorrow? Between BTK, Twisted Minds, and Fnatic Onyx Philippines. Because I've talked to Fnatic Onyx Philippines and a lot of them want to meet RRQ tomorrow.
I think I want to meet BTK.
BTK, why BTK?
I want to taste the Fredrin.
You want to taste the Fredrin of Mobazane?
Yes.
You want to see who's better at Fredrin? Okay, so hopefully whoever's doing the draw later on, the hands will favor you. Now, Sutsujin, we can see that a lot of the fans of Kingdom actually came down. What do you want to say to the fans of RRQ?
Buat Kingdom yang di sini maupun yang online, terima kasih yang udah support. Jangan lupa support kita lagi di match-match berikutnya.
All right, he said thank you very much to all of the Kingdom fans who came down to support. And of course, don't forget to support RRQ in their upcoming matches. Thank you very much, Sutsujin. Congratulations on your win. And with that, let us throw it back to the panel.
Thank you, Rose. Thank you, Sutsujin. Of course, once again, congratulations to RRQ Hoshi. A very fight-heavy game like that. We need to break it down. Jangon Lupa, when you have the 1-1 on the other side, make sure you have sufficient damage to make sure that the 1-1 won't be able to fly. That was my main concern for the draft here for Team Spirit.
And the only real source of damage was Hiko. And once Skylar saw, and I guess the rest of RRQ set it up so that Hiko would only be shooting a certain tangent, just one straight line, because that's the nature of the Granger, it was so much easier for Skylar to get away with it. What was his final? Never died. Skylar never died.
Never died. I think it's an interesting concept here, and I think, a lot of the theory is going to be boiling down to, oh yeah, a lot of the damage is coming out from Hiko. If somebody can body block it for me, my second issue is whether or not I can actually close the gap and also maintain the perfect amount of distance to deal with Sunset Lover, which was the second big problem that RRQ had to deal with. Their tanks suffered for a long time until finally both Edok and as well as Skylar said, we've had enough of this. You keep picking up on our tanks, we're going to start picking on you.
Yeah, for RRQ Hoshi, they mentioned they wanted to face off against BTK. This lineup that they show, I call it PTK, protect Skylar. And that's exactly what they did. They protected their big brother, man. That last glue pick, it looked like it was them saying, we really need something annoying to buy time for the 1-1.
You can also call it protect the king.
Protect the king.
He is King Skylar now.
Yeah, that's true.
Looking at what Team Spirit did in comparison to the PTK, protect the Skylar, protect the king, Team Spirit also has I guess the fact that the Granger, now it's safe. I think we understand Granger more now, given Hiko's performance. This is eye-opening to me because compare that to a Wanwer, compare that to a Beatrix, compare that to, who's the other one? The Bruno. Is it just me or is Granger the most honest of the three? Of the three Bs?
Yes, extremely honest. He does one thing and one thing really good. I outrange you. Once I'm out of energy, you just wait. Just stay right there. Don't move.
Yeah, and even though it was max stacks for Hiko, he was chucking down the front line. Weirdly enough, it felt like the front line of Team Spirit, if they weren't falling faster, they were getting split up more, that RRQ still got to keep a very tight formation all throughout. And that was one of the biggest problems. Again, this Jushin pick that paired up with the high loss, it did their jobs, but the problem is they were lacking another source of good burst to pair with the Granger.
Which is totally counterintuitive to what we were setting up earlier. Remember, RRQ, they're very Skylar-centric, but when you watch the match, it's not just Skylar. Sutsujin was doing well. Diren was doing well. Edok got the final kick. Compared to Team Spirit, who went all in on Hiko. For a while, it was working out. For a while, it was Hiko Mania, baby! But once that breaks down, once RRQ is in your personal space, Hiko just folded.
Well, I mean, I have to slightly disagree there. Yes, in terms of gameplay, yes, it's very Hiko-centric because he's the main source of damage, but everybody else is designed to do one of two things. Either peel, make sure those front lines are out of the way, and then you can start dealing with the backline damage dealers because honestly, you have to wait on cooldown and Granger scales to infinity. So really, who's on the losing end? And I would say that RRQ took a lot of punishment. Look at the damage taken by Diren alone as well as Edok. The front lines had to eat dirt and got curb stomped in the earlier stages of the game, but then it starts changing around, especially when Team Spirit start to overextend. Worst yet, when they fall into choke points, allowing Rins to get very effective ults.
Which works well for RRQ's development, going from MPLID to M6 here in the Swiss, because you watch them in MPL Season 14, late game, they're not at home. That's not their comfort. Here, they had to come back into the late game. You talk about these smaller avenues of fighting. You saw how the Akai made it so hard for Skylar to fly. Something tells me it's the Akai and how they read into Kid Bomba's movements that allowed Skylar to go deathless.
King Skylar 5-0-3. And one thing that I was telling Gideon behind the scenes was that Team Spirit, they can trade, but it's hard for them to win team fight. Like, get that big win and say, yeah, they won this, they can push out, they can go forward. And RRQ read into that very well. If you went back, if you would go back and look at the damage distribution, the interesting thing about that is that, yeah, it's close to 100k for the Granger, and say, hey, what do you mean they don't have enough damage? That's a lot. The next one is like at 44,000 from the Jushin. The Aurora alone dealt almost 60 to 70k on the side of RRQ. So that's what we mean, that RRQ just had a little bit more damage as we look at the MVP highlights for Skylar.
And this is why, like Skylar, again, he had a really interesting build. Initially going for the Trinity, and then afterwards optimizing his build later down the line to start picking things up, like obviously Malefic Gun, but then even Windtalker. And then afterwards ditching the boots entirely, just to make sure that he has a variety depending on the scenario that he has to face. Yes, you want to be able to take out Sunset Lover, but at 90% of the time, you're dealing with Kid Bomba and as well as Sawo on top of one shot.
And it really goes to show here the effect of the glue to disrupt, and well, one shot here just trying to outplay that 1-1. But at this point, Skylar was just like, nah, I'm gonna dance all over you. And even right before he went up with the crossbow of Tang, got 2 cheeky TPs in.
Yeah, because even the 1-1 underneath the Crimson Flares doesn't care. She can actually, I think that works, right? You can cleanse the stack so you would not get chokeslammed.
Yeah, I feel like though after what we saw there, even if it is the Kingdom moving forward into the 2-0 bracket, feels like Team Spirit, it's not going to be them saying, oh no, I'm stuck here with a bunch of 1-1s. The other 1-1s are stuck with Team Spirit. That was a hell of a showing by the Northern Dragons.
Which now full circle, remember about a couple matches back we said, where do we find Ulfednar? Where do we find Team Spirit? Are they dark horses? Are they true contenders? Do we have a jury? Does the jury have a decision now?
I think they are true contenders. I think that the way that they played that game was very optimal considering the draft that they were given. I think, unfortunately, it boiled down to a single kick from Edok, and that's what makes RRQ stand above the rest. I think overall, the macro sense is what gave a lot of time, despite the overwhelming snowball coming in from TS, because every time they won the fight, what was the convergence? A singular turret, maybe even a buff steal, compared to, oh, we take out 3 of your guys, I take 2 turrets, I take 2 of your buffs, I deny everything else.
I think that main difference between RRQ Hoshi and Team Spirit, for me, puts Team Spirit in dark horse territory. I think there's a little bit more that they can polish and work out, that they can refine in their macro, that makes a huge difference.
Exactly, because the Team Spirit that we saw here today definitely showed that they can dance with the best of them when it comes to team fighting. They just couldn't get that big win, but the wins that they got failed to take into account the presence of the minions in the map. That's why they couldn't get that significant win to get objectives, while RRQ Hoshi showed that they are kings of the brawl meta, but they also know how to take care of the minions as well. Let's look back at what has been an amazing day so far in the Swiss stage, the second day of it, by looking at the top 5 plays on your screens right now. This is from STG versus BTK. This is Shark.
Oh boy, it's gonna be the 3-man knockup, isn't it? Coming in from his magic thump at the very edge of it. It's so good.
It's a coast to coast. Look at that, from that bush all the way into the 3 members of S2G. Use the flicker there, and I think this was the main turning point. BTK just takes control. Up next, we have here a play from Twisted Minds. Yeah, look at this. See the control coming in and the answer all throughout. Oh no, it was a turnaround. That's what made it so important.
Yeah, Benny was really nasty on this, but then we cut back over to Aurora MLBB up against NIP Flash here. Again, great initiation. It looks super good. And then you see, just keep your eyes on Vanix, how he gets into the back line. Bam! Double stun.
Oh, hell of a play there by that Moskov to entry. And of course, Hades swooping in, getting that turtle, and then going straight to the back line. After that, of course, we witnessed Ulfednar versus Selangor Red Giants, and it was the beginning of the breakdown. Or at this point, it was the Hail Mary play by Ulfednar, countered very well by SRG.
Yeah, they spent too much to be able to steal that Lord. And then eventually, Selangor Giants put themselves where they needed to be with the help of Stormy's diversion. I'm hoping that the last play is also a diversion play.
Oh, no, it's not.
It was from this one.
It was from our very last series of the day. Honestly, the way that they broke the battle lines was already impressive enough because you can just watch, right? You can see the initial lockdown, and then they realize, oh no, we've just lost Sunset Lover. We're losing all of our battle spells at the same time, and Skylar runs around the composition to chase the back line.
Number 5 is a prime example of why, again, you do not brawl against the brawl meta.
Wow, what a day number 2 for our Swiss stages. And that's the end, if I'm not mistaken, of our string of best of ones in a long day. We still have best of ones in the 1-1 bracket.
Have a few.
Yeah, but in the 2-0 and in the 0-2, that's where we're going to be seeing best of 3s making a comeback.
And we confirm by the end of tomorrow, we would have said goodbye to a couple of teams, and we would have said congratulations to a couple more, because they would have then confirmed their slot in the knockouts.
And I think that's it for us. I mean, we still have the draw coming up, but real quick, any last things that you gentlemen want to say before we head on over to the Swiss stage draw?
Honestly, the Swiss stage draw has been extremely exciting. And first, I gotta make sure I pull that off real quick, make sure that the kingdom's close to the heart. I think that generally the competitiveness level of this Swiss stage is really elevated here for M6. And for those of you who are, tuning in, learning about MLBB esports, this is the peak. This is as good as it's going to get, if not better, from this point onwards.
Today's matches were both a reality check and a shock to the system, because we saw our good amount of upsets, but just the same, we saw how some teams, despite looking a certain way early to mid, found their way to coming back in the late. So with that said, I think tomorrow will be more of a day wherein we can say, oh yeah, this team really does belong in this bracket, because we start seeing best of 3s.
On the road to being greater than ever defeats. Very tough in best of ones, but maybe those in the 0-2 bracket could potentially get a little bit of more joy, down the line, and make sure everything that'll be okay and just be greater than ever. Renmar, Leo, and Gideon here. Let's go on over to the draw.
ultimate glory starts now.
Mobile Legend M6 スイスウォッチMeiji Hello Panda, Hello Panda, semua suka biskuitnya. Biskuitnya enak, isinya lezat, rasa coklat dan strawberry. Hello Panda, Hello Panda, semua suka biskuitnya. Biskuitnya enak, isinya lezat, rasa coklat dan strawberry. Hello Panda, biskuit isi yang enak.
As day 2 is about to close this time round, it's going to be me, Gideon Q, as well as Naisu here to make sure that we are watching and making sure that nothing goes wrong here at the group draw for day number 2. Honestly, it's been a very exciting day.
It has. It's been really great, I would say. I think, yes, especially after yesterday. Yesterday was a day of upsets. Today, I don't know. Would we say that it was all upsets, or it was some expectations and then we had some surprising wins? I don't know. How do you feel? I know Malaysia did pretty well today.
I mean, it was a little bit of a coin flip, I'll be perfectly honest with you. With the matches that we've had here today, so many things were unexpected, but more importantly, we need to see what's the next step of the draw. Because keep in mind, we've got 3 segments to fill out. The 2 O's, the 1 and 1s, and unfortunately, the O and 2s. In each of these cases, we're going to be drawing out the teams to make sure that at the very least, hopefully, they're going to have a good matchup. But of course, we're not going to be the ones doing it. Thank goodness.
We don't want the heat, man. We don't want the heat. So we are going to be welcoming a KOL to join us to do the draw for himself. We're going to welcome up Boston Gaming. Come and join us. Good sir. Thank you. Would you like to go ahead and introduce yourself to our audience before the draw?
Всем привет, это Boston! It was in Russian, and in English it means, hey everyone, it's Boston!
Boston, great to have you with us. What did you think of today? Did you get to catch most of the games, or?
Yeah, I have catched most of the games. Several wins were unexpected.
Yeah.
That's a pity that Team Spirit didn't make it. They did well, but RQ were better.
Yeah, you know, I think there's still a lot of improvements that we've seen from Team Spirit, and it was just unfortunate. They really brawled it out, but they weren't able to get the win this time around. So still, they have their chances, of course, but we are going to be proceeding with the draw. So Boston, you get to go ahead and do this. I'll take the mic for you, and we will be starting here on the 2-0 squad. There are 4 teams there, so you'll go ahead and draw from there, all 4 teams, until we have that 2-0 bracket filled out.
Now, Boston, as you pick these 2-0 teams, who are you hoping to pick out first at the very least, or maybe pair them up together?
Maybe BTK and Onyx. maybe.
BTK and this guy wants the big matches first. All right, let's see this very first one. Let's crack it open and find out who is going to be the first one listed in our first best of 3. Twisted Minds. Ooh, that's going to be a tough one. That's going to be a tough one. All right. No worries here. We'll handle this. You can go paste it up on the wall. Now, Boston, as you mentioned, you wanted to see Fnatic and as well as BTK. I'm curious to see, as we're going to draw our very next ball, who do you want Twisted Minds to face off?
Well, he's gonna do the bottom one. Yeah.
Oh yes.
Yep.
Not to face Twisted Minds. Yeah. Some of the balls are cold, some hot. Yeah. I want the hot one.
Goes with the hot ball.
Yeah. And
yeah. That explains it.
I mean, that explains exactly why Bloodthirsty Kings going to be in our next row. Please paste it up on the wall. This is going to be interesting, right? Because now our next 2 competitors are going to either first one's going to face off against Twisted Minds, and the next into BTK. You might just get your wish. It's a 50-50. Good luck on the roll.
Take a deep breath.
Maybe Fnatic Onyx. All teams are very strong. Really.
He says all teams are very strong, but he's pulling up some really good matchups.
These 2 are really strong for opponents.
Is this one cold or hot, by the way?
This cool.
It's cool. Okay.
Yeah. It's
RRQ Hoshi is going to be up against Twisted Minds in our 2-0 bracket. This is good. Honestly, this is going to be a fun one. We know what our very final team is going to be. And Boston, I don't know if you're just like some kind of magi mystic going on here, but you called it right from the start. Please, just for formality, crack it open and show the camera.
There it is.
Onyx for BTK.
Ooh.
Yeah, Onyx for BTK.
He called it, man. He called it from the beginning.
He called it based off of the temperature of the balls. I don't know. Yeah, we're probably going to have to double check this later down the line. Oh, let's lock that in there. Now, keep in mind, this might not be the match order. We will show the schedule at the very end of it, but that just means you're going to have to pick up the 1-1 matchups, and we've got plenty of teams for you to choose from. What are you hoping for at the very least?
At very least, I'm hoping Team Spirit.
Of course.
Versus any team. I think they will beat any team. So, I will want to pick Team Spirit first. Maybe here.
Let's
get
it off.
Yeah, let's see if we can get Team Spirit out of the way early, right?
Odds, I have low odds because lots of team. Maybe. No.
Hey.
I tried.
Our very first team is going to be Team Vamos as we put him on the wall. Oh, this could go a bunch of different ways here, especially for the 1-on-1 bracket.
The 1-on-1 bracket is spicy, man. You know, there's a lot of, I would say, all the teams that are in the 1-for-1, they're all very close in, I would say, power level. So let's see who's going to be the next team.
It seems I can feel only hot or cold or cool. The hottest, this one. Oh. This one, the hottest.
Could that mean, all right, crack it open, show it, let's see. I had no contact with the ball whatsoever, and oh my goodness.
This is the hottest one.
Crazy. That's actually so good. I'm so thankful. Thank you, boss. Thank you. You have no idea. I'm so thankful you pulled that.
I was going to say, I feel like I could hear the crowd, too, outside.
Let's go.
Okay. Instead of the hottest, are we looking for the coldest this one? What are your thoughts coming into this next bowl? You've got 2 Malaysian teams out of the way, and Team Spirit has not shown themselves.
This is the coolest. I don't know what's team inside. Let's check.
Oh, this is a good one. Okay. It's going to be S2G.
S2G, obviously a team that started the upsets on day 1 against the team that Boston Gaming just drew. So great to see the 3rd team now for the last one on that left side of the bracket.
So the last one is the coldest one, I feel.
The coldest one.
The coldest one.
All right.
Yeah.
There it is.
The man is pulling out bangers here. Team Liquid ID is going into the bracket again. Oh man, there's so many ways that this could turn out. Naisu, for you in particular, I gotta ask, what are you hoping for in terms of matchups before I give it over to Boston to start rolling for the next one?
I don't know, man. At this point, I've been so surprised with how things have fallen. I think I agree with what Boston mentioned. Any of the teams over here, but I would say I would love to see Team Spirit actually go against Vamos.
Do you agree that? Do you think that they can take on Vamos?
Yeah, now I want to choose team. I want to find Team Spirit.
All right.
Yeah.
Sense
Are they
it.
cold or hot, Boston?
It's cool.
Okay.
It's cool. And it's somewhere like here. Oh man, no. This one. This one. And no.
Ooh, doesn't find Team Spirit, but does find CFU. Again, this is actually going to be an exciting best-of-1 matchup between Vamos and CFU because two hyper-aggressive teams. They love to play around the early game. It's going to be quite a showing.
Now he's wondering. He's second-guessing. He's like, maybe I should have grabbed that other one because right now it's...
First ball with this.
It's SRG. Who's the opponent going to be for SRG?
Let's find out. And it's Falcon.
Interesting. SRG will be facing up against Falcons. Ooh, this is gonna be. I don't know how to feel about that one because again, Falcons have shown what they're capable of, a very wide tool set as well. But now we have to choose the opponents for S2G. Good luck, Boston.
Maybe Team Spirit will be the last.
Maybe.
Crack it open. There it is.
Yeah.
All right.
NIP Flash. Oh my goodness, here. He's nailing it. I don't know whether he's doing this on purpose or whether or not he is just calling everything absolutely perfectly. You know exactly the last one. You picked every other team. Give it up for Team Spirit.
Oh, TLID and Team Spirit. I don't know, but can we ask him?
In Russian.
Absolutely.
Зверя нет сильнее дракона. Spirit, гордость региона. It's for Russian. For Team Spirit.
I agree with whatever you say. That's all I
in English, there's no stronger beast than dragon.
It's going to be the dragon.
He has got a point. But now we move on to the very next box here. So we did the 1-1s. We did the 2-0s. It is time for the 0-2s. Good luck, please. You can begin your draw.
Okay, let's start with this. And we got...
Okay. Mayhem Evolved. This is, this is an extremely important matchup, especially... These are crucial because these are elimination matches here. Now let's go for the next pairing. Let's see who potentially could line this up. We still have 3 more teams.
It seems hottest one.
This is the hottest one?
This could mean...
I have a feeling.
It could go both ways.
I'm correct.
Aurora. Yeah.
I mean, it's Aurora MLBB coming in. Now, there are only 2 teams left. What do you feel in Boston? Who do you want? Again, you are deciding the fate of these teams.
Who you want to pair with Aurora?
Oh, with Aurora? I want to hear your answer, Gideon. You know what? I've been answering all the questions about the Malaysian teams now. How about this one?
Yeah, honestly, I'll take any. Because as long as the Malaysian team ain't in that bracket, I think I'm okay. Aurora's going to be a tough matchup.
I have made my choice.
He has made his choice. Crack it open. No, it's going to be Maycom Evolved versus KBG. Ooh, actually, this one might be really interesting. I think that both of these teams, they're pretty evenly matched. But now for the final one, it only means that the Ulfandar experience continues.
Oh, that's going to be a matchup, man. Aurora, Ulfandar. In a way, you know, familiar foes, I would say, in terms of playstyle and regions.
It truly is. Boss, I got to get some of your opinions on these upcoming matchups here. Let's start all the way from the top. From each of these brackets, pick out some of your favorite teams or favorite matchups.
I think top bracket is really tough for these two teams because RRQ and Fnatic Onyx are really strong.
They are really, really strong. I mean, I would say it's a really tough choice as well. But let's talk about at least the 1-in-1 brackets. At least there are no stakes this time. You know, no pressure whatsoever. What is the matchup that you're looking for other than Team Spirit? Because I know they're going to have a tough time against TLID.
For sure, I'm looking for SRG because I like this team, except of Team Spirit. And I think match Team Spirit with Liquid will be very interesting also.
Boston knows how to say the right thing.
I was going to say he does, but I got to ask you too, Boston, how about the most crucial matches? Because these teams down here at the 0-2, they face elimination. Because as we know, if a team goes 0-3, they are out. How do you feel about these matchups, especially with the first one? Do you side with a team here, KBG or Mayhem Evolve, and then of course Aurora and Ulfennar?
Yeah, I'm rooting for KBG and of course for Ulfennar. Because I think Ulfennar could make it. It will be a hard match for them, but I think they will manage to win.
Well, I'm gonna say, you know, I hope the opposite happens. Of course, I want to root for both teams, but I'm hoping that Aurora is able to go ahead and rise through the ranks like we've seen teams like that before. But also, I think overall, Gideon, when we look at this in Boston Gaming, we have a great day ahead of us. So far, every single draw has been on point. All the matches have been on point. And like Gideon mentioned earlier, we do want to just go ahead and let you guys know that these matches are all correct. But the scheduling for them for tomorrow, we have to wait for those, and you guys will go ahead and see those online once they're all posted.
We're going to have to wait just a little bit for that schedule to come out. But Boston, this gives us a little bit of time because, again, I remember seeing you at EWC as well, seeing, you know, the progression with a lot of these teams. You know so much about Team Spirit. I'm interested to know, you've been following this team for a while. Why or how did they get to this level, right? Because we've seen Ulfennar, we've also seen S2G on that rise. It feels like Team Spirit is on that same trajectory.
I've asked myself this question time after time, and I understand that everything is in Sour hands. Sour is a very skillful roamer, and he has a very good strategy. Not only in game, but in real life. I think that's because of Sour.
All because of Sour. Thank you so much, Boston. You have decided the fate of our very next round here. Thank you so much for coming down to do this draw. Now, here is the very final schedule set in stone for tomorrow's matchups. We have Mayhem Evolve up against KBG. We have S2G up against NIP Flash. SRG versus Falcon Esports. Twisted Minds versus RRQ Hoshi. 2 hours in between each and every one of these matches. Now, keep in mind that as we are seeing these matches, there is elimination matches as well, and this will be our day 4 schedule.
Yeah, ahead of us for day 4, this is what we've got in store. Aurora and Ulfennar, Vamos and CFU, TLID to follow against Team Spirit, of course. And then lastly, to round things out, it's BTK and Fnatic Onyx Philippines. Mind you, I know you guys have been seeing a lot of best of 1s the past couple days, but there are some best of 3s that'll be happening for day 3 and day 4 of the rest of our Swiss stages.
It's going to be a crazy day. It's going to be a very crazy day for day 3 and as well as day 4 before we even make it into our very next stage to see more teams actually qualify and as well as teams who are going to get eliminated. Boston, I'm going to get your opinions on this because who are you thinking? Make a prediction who's going to be making out of the knockout stage. I know you're going to say Team Spirit, so of course, we're just going to assume straight off the bat Team Spirit makes it. But are there any other teams that are looking or hoping will actually qualify for knockouts?
You mean qualify for this bracket? For this? And this. Of course, RRQ Fnatic Onyx. It's no doubt.
No doubt?
Yeah, I think that's.
I believe.
For me, it's no doubt that RRQ and Fnatic Onyx will make it. Of course, Team Spirit somewhere here, and they will go to the finals. And I think KBG, yeah, and maybe
one more. If you could pick one more for us.
Team X Flash, yeah.
All right, NIP Flash That is
and NIP Flash. Yeah.
Yep, NIP Flash. That is Boston's idea here for what's going to move forward. Again, thank you so much for joining us. Is there any last message you want to go ahead and throw out before we close out?
I
You can say it in Russian. Yeah, go ahead.
Всем спасибо за просмотр, удачи и пока-пока. Thanks everyone. Bye.
Thank you so much for joining us, Boston Gaming. Again, that's me, Naisu, and Gideon. We are going to be wrapping it up here for today. We'll see you guys back here tomorrow for more action for the Swiss stage.
Lost in the shadows, feeling so small, but I've got a fire, won't let myself fall. Every hit taken, every scar earned, lessons in pain from which I've learned. When the world says I'm done, I'm just starting my run.